Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at tablemon. Twilight Masquerade is finally out on TCG Live and we finally get to play with Dragapult EX, this fantastic Pokemon which is going to take the metagame by storm. It's one of the, no, it's not one of, it's the most anticipated card from this set, and for good reason. Doing 200 damage to the active for 2 energy is already very powerful in itself, but then you also get to play 6 damage counters on on any of your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like, which is really powerful. It's bonus damage and allows you to pick off low HP Pokemon that your opponent might be playing. So very, very powerful attack right there. The first attack, 1 energy for 70, decent if you end up getting stuck or missing an energy attachment, but having no weakness, having 320 HP, this Pokemon is going to be a formidable foe. And if you've seen the coverage that we've had in the channel about it and what to expect from this new set, it will be no surprise to you that this deck is the main card, or this card is the main deck that is on everyone's minds and will probably be the top contender and the benchmark in the upcoming metagame. Now, Drakloak is a very powerful card as well. With its ability, you can look at the top 2 cards, keep one to the bottom, which is really nice, and then you have Xatu to make sure that you attach extra psychic energy on any Pokemon, obviously Dragapult, and then you get to draw 2 cards as well. So nice little energy acceleration bonus right there. The rest of the deck should be pretty direct. You have Rotom V to help support, you have Radiant Alakazam to make sure that you can move the damage counters around and ensure you get the maximum value and potentially increase the damage that you do to the active, which is very important. You also have TM Evo and TM Devo, since we're already playing for Arven and we are placing damage counters on the bench. That is a way that you can get extra prizes, and of course TM Evo also helps you with your setup. And then the other brand new card in this deck is the Unfair Stamp. Unfair Stamp, when your opponent has taken a knockout, you can play the card, both players shuffle their cards into your deck, your opponent draws 2 and you draw 5, which is a really big deal. Can be played on the second turn of the game, so that level of disruption is something that a lot of decks need to account for and need to be ready and prepared for. So very important card to consider when playing against Dragapult. Now this is the deck that got top 4 at the Sapporo Champions League, has all sorts of techie cards like the Enhanced Hammer even, which is finally back in the meta, has a Rescue Board. I wish there was a Tatsugiri to combine with that, but there isn't in this version. Maybe we will conclude after the games that it is a necessary card, but let's jump into some games. I'm sure you're all eager to watch the deck in action, so let's get to it. Alright, it's Dragapult EX time. So bear in mind, I've played a few games with Dragapult Xatu, however not 1,000, alright? So we are most certainly going to be learning as we go. Now I'm going to choose to go second, just because a turn to Dragapult is, I feel, very unlikely when going first, but going second we should be able to stabilize, set up, whatever else. Now we do mulligan, so my opponent will see Xatu's and the Devo disc, which could be a slight tail. We have a pretty decent start. Wish we had an energy, which we can get with Earthen Vessel, but we'll see. So we start off against a Dunsparce, so not sure if many people are aware that the set is now out, so we might or might not play against Dragapult decks. This does seem like a standard Roaring Moon deck. They do see the Dreepy, and they also choose to retreat and pass, so weird decision there. We do top deck a Natu, which is very nice, so we're gonna go ahead and Buddy-Buddy Poffin for a couple more Dreepies. I'm gonna assume my Natu is gonna be safe-ish on the bench, and I do have Earthen Vessel. I did prize some energy, all good though. So we are going to go Arven for you and for you. Could be a Forest Hill Stone in case I top deck Rotom, just to give me extra draw power. I do like the Rescue Board just to give me flexibility to attach with Raikou. I mean, with Xatu. Why did I say Raikou? With Xatu next turn, just in case. I do have the Switch, of course. We're going to grab one of each energy. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, but we are hoping we survive, right? So we're going to do this. And we are going to evolve into Natu and Drakloak. So there's the Drakloak first off, and there's the Xatu. All right, so far so good. Yeah, pretty decent turn one. Our energy is a little vulnerable in the active, but we do have energy to attach with Xatu's Clairvoyant Sense. We also have the Ultra Ball for a potential Dragapult EX, or possibly even a Rotom in case our hand is just not great, right? Finding another fire would be the target here so that we can start attacking with Dragapult. 6 damage counters is perfect numbers for Dunsparce, so I feel like that the Dunsparce engine is probably not going to be super viable in the near future because of that situation. The 60 HP Dunsparces are not safe on the bench, making that engine a little less good. If Dunsparce had 70 HP, then it would be fantastic, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to be possible. Now, we haven't seen a single energy attached by my opponent or played, and now we do see the concealed cards for the energy. Do they have the Professor Sada? That is the question. If they don't, that would be pretty good. They keep getting Dunsparces instead of a backup Roaring Moon, which is understandable. They do Sada, and looks like my poor Dreepy is going to go down. So not ideal, but it is what it is. Now, in the beginning testing, I always made the mistake of forgetting that I need the Pokemon to attach to with Xatu on the bench. So very important to not promote the Drakloak if I aspire to attack with that next turn. All right, so I think I'm gonna go with the Xatu here. That's gonna get the Rescue Board. And all right, a Nest Ball top deck, which is pretty nice. Now I'm regretting not grabbing that Forest Seal Stone, of course. Now we are going to Artisan for the Natu. Probably Nest Ball for the Rotom as well, because don't have that high of an expectation here. Now we are seeing the next 4 cards, which is pretty good. So we're gonna Clairvoyant Sense onto the Drakloak. We do find an Iono, that's pretty good. So now that's gonna change my perspective a little bit. We're gonna Reckon Directive, and we are going to grab the TM Devo, which we can discard along with the Poffin in order to give ourselves the Dragapult EX. I could give myself a Drakloak, but like if I get Drakloak, then of Iono I need Fire and Dragapult EX. This way I just need the Fire. So we're gonna go ahead and Rescue Board right here, and then we are going to Iono. If we get the Fire, we are in such a good spot. And we do in fact get the Fire, which is pretty awesome. We also get a Collapsed Stadium. I'm gonna go Reckon Directive first. I just find the Fire naturally. No need to even use the Earthen Vessel. So pretty ideal setup, right? Really showcasing what this deck is all about. I'm even going to Collapse Stadium so that my opponent can't easily search for a backup Roaring Moon, and we get a 2-price turn. Oh gosh. Of course I have to place a drag 6 times, making this as inefficient as possible, but who is surprised at this point? Honestly, it is what it is. All right, so we get a backup Dragapult. We have Earthen Vessel to power up the next one. So Xatu's role is not to be used every single turn, and now my opponent has to go through a 320 HP stage 2 Pokemon that is probably going to get another 2 prizes next turn. So unless my opponent somehow manages to one-hit KO me this turn, I don't foresee a situation where my opponent can actually overcome this. They can knock me out with the Roaring Moon EX, that is true. Alright, so let's not underestimate my opponent at this point in time. If I lose a Dragapult, I will probably need to Arven, get a backup Dreepy and whatnot, so we'll see. Now, thanks to the counter catcher, in case my opponent leaves this active Dunsparce evolved into the Dunsparce, I can actually get a knockout and go counter catcher Iono to knock out the Dunsparce and put damage counters on the Roaring Moon, which that would be pretty ideal. Now that they've attached that tool though, that is no longer possible, but they end up benching a bunch of Dunsparces, so we're still good to go. We're gonna get 3 prizes this turn, and we're gonna Iono my opponent down to 3 cards, which could lead to them re-establishing the threat for sure, right? But they are going to need to establish the Roaring Moon EX, I believe. Let's just check really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's no way they're going to get enough cards to knock me out afterwards, right? So that's going to be the plan. Now I'm wondering if I should just establish a backup Dreepy instead. So going for the Super Rod, I think I'm going to prefer that because I do have access to Rare Candy. That deck we know doesn't play any sort of hand attack, and I also have the Unfair Stamp to recover the pieces and also make sure we can I can recover the pieces and disrupt my opponent thanks to the Forest Seal Stone. So far so good. We are going to Earthen Vessel away this Buddy-Buddy Poffin. I just want a backup Dreepy, which is really good to have. We're gonna go for the Recon Directive, and we're going to grab the Nest Ball, sure, which we can get rid of. So I'm gonna do this, then we're gonna go Super Rod, back a Dreepy, and a couple energies just to make sure we have access to those. I do believe maybe, I don't remember if the other Dragapult is available, so I'm just gonna put the Dragapult back just in case. All right, so I do have Devolution. I will go ahead and attach. I will go ahead and Nest Ball for the Radiant Alakazam, sure. Retreating that. No, I do have my Switch, so I'm gonna get the Radiant Alakazam. I'm gonna Artisan for the Dreepy. And then I am going to go for a Forest Seal Stone to grab our beautiful Unfair Stamp. So a full showcase. Now I'm wondering if I could go like counter catcher the Dunsparce and just knock out both Dunsparces. Is that better? I don't think it is. I think just getting rid of this friend is going to be the way to go, but we'll see. Yeah, a bunch of other cards that we definitely can't use at this point in time. I do have the Arven, but I don't have a way to set up another Dragapult. So if my opponent were able to knock me out, that would be a little troublesome. Moving the damage is really like not very significant at all. We're just gonna go Phantom Dive, make sure we knock out one of the Dunsparces and call it a day. Yeah, call it a day and put ourselves down to 1 prize card. But this is one of the issues of Dragapult TX for sure. The fact that getting a backup Dragapult is not as easy. All right, now the cards we did just find, the Psychic Energy is actually very useful. If the Psychic Energy gets me either Dragapult or the Rare Candy, then I can Arven for the other piece. However, I also need the Fire Energy. That's a very key thing. Yeah, so the energy attachments and the energy decisions with this deck need to be very on point and also potentially very subtle. And yeah, your energy management is going to be super clutch, but Xatu is definitely the hero of this match, along with the potential Unfair Stamp. Now, If your opponent does get an Earthen Vessel, will be able to thin the deck by 2 cards, draw 2 more with Radiant Greninja. There is nothing to be grabbed from Artisan, so that does mean no more Dunsparces. 1 Roaring Moon might be prized, probably prized, could be in their hands as well. So now they do get the Explorer's Guidance. Now the cool thing, actually, I just realized, if my opponent gets another Dragapult EX powered up, not Dragapult EX, sorry, Roaring Moon EX powered up, and knocks me out, I could actually get a return KO on that Roaring Moon with Radiant Alakazam. That means I would just need 1 energy. I can Arven for it. So attacking with Radiant Alakazam is something that this deck can actually accomplish. So that's really, really important to keep in mind. Now, kudos my opponent promote here. There's a Roaring Moon EX. There's a Roaring Moon in the active. Will that do enough damage? No, it does not. Our opponent concedes, and Dragapult EX takes its first victory on PTCG Live. Let's jump into the next game. Alright, so we do get to go second once again. Once again, a cool hand. Don't need to go for Earthen Vessel this time around, as we do have a fire, so we can Arven for Buddy-Buddy Poffin. We could also, and the TM Evo, we could also Nest Ball for Rotom if that's the road we wanted to take. So Arven into Poffin plus for a Seal Stone, Nest Ball for Rotom into for Seal Stone, definitely could be a possibility. Now, we do see a, is this Espathra? I mean, there's definitely Banana DX, of course. It is Espathra. Yeah, I did not recognize the Flittle. So it is Espathra, no big deal. Even if we get item locked. Oh, both Earthen Vessels are prized though. That is actually going to be potentially very problematic. Oh no, there I have the 3rd Earthen Vessel. Never mind, we are good to go. Alright, so because of the possibility that my opponent not wrecks, but like shuts down my items, I think I'm gonna favor going for the Technical Machine Evolution here and establish double Drakloak at this point in time. So we're gonna forgo well, yeah, we're gonna forgo the Rotom for now. We're just gonna establish 2 Natus, 2 Dreepies, and we're gonna go ahead and evolve. What we are going to forgo though is the Xatu for now, as that deck's damage output is honestly pitiful if they are shutting down your item cards. So I'm just gonna get double Drakloak and get going with that. Yeah, Drakloak's draw is not the best though, so maybe, I mean, this plays around the item lock, but maybe by not giving myself the possibility to get Rotom, extra cards, yeah, maybe that was not the best way to go about that. Now my opponent's bench is super vulnerable to the damage counter placement. This does 30 plus 30 for each energy attached to both active Pokemon, so that is 90 damage for now, right? So good for them. No item lock, which is good for me in a sense, but I mean, seeing this now, I guess I overestimated what my opponent could do, and I played I respected them a little too much. Maybe I should have just gone for the Rotom, had the first Stone available, and drawn 3 extra cards and hope to rare candy into Dragapult afterwards. So, or find whatever piece I might be missing, right? Maybe that's what I should have done, but it's all right. I have 0 expectations to be able to attack this upcoming turn, but I should be able to attack eventually. Alright, so that was 90 damage. I think I'm gonna give up on a Natu here. I do need both Drakloaks available and drawing, as it is my draw engine right now. A Psychic would now allow me to use Xatu as well. Very nice. Okay. So that's really, really cool to see. I can also evolve to protect the energy placement. But now, of course, finding the fire with 2 Earthen Vessels prized is not going to be an easy task. Alright, lots of psychics. This Buddy-Buddy Poffin does give me like more Pokemon, and why not? Let's just thin the Manaphy for sure. And then I am going to evolve. I could hit for 70, which becomes 40. That's not super great. I could get a knockout actually. Is that worth it? I honestly don't think so. Not at this point. I'm just gonna play it cool, have the psychic, draw 2 more cards, use Drakloak, see 1 more card, get my top deck. That's 4 extra cards next turn potentially, and we'll see what we can do after. Alright, 90 damage once again. We do see the Clairvoyant Sense attaching energies to that Flittle. If that doesn't get evolved, I might actually try to target that down. However, this Ultra Ball will probably evolve that Flittle, which is fine. Gets rid of a 3rd research and an Iono, right? That's 3 researches. So once I Iono or Unfair Stamp my opponent, they're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Not in a lot of trouble, but like a big part of their draw power is now gone. Now they do go for the boss's orders onto the Dragapult, so they really want to get the first hit into that, which is understandable. With a 2-card hand, I'm not super scared, and we do find the Arven, which is pretty fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and immediately use that to thin the deck and also make sure I can TM Devo does sound appealing because of the 30 HP nature of these, so maybe I'll keep that available just in case, and I'm gonna Earthen Vessel away the Force Seal Stone instead. So let's go ahead and do that. We will grab these. Alright, then we're gonna go ahead and Clairvoyant Sense onto the bench. Drakloak, of course. I do find Unfair Stamp for later. Now, Counter Catcher, alright, pretty good. So, I could Counter Catcher Knockout Xatu, Knockout Shop it. Or, these have 30 HP. I could go Counter Catcher Knockout Xatu 30-30. That would actually be pretty cool, I think. And then maybe I can TM Devo, right? Alright, I do get an Iono, which is cool. Am I getting KO'd next turn? 150. They attach energy 180. If I knock out the Xatu, I am not getting KO'd next turn. Maybe I am by this. But it's alright. So we're gonna go Phantom Dive, get a knockout, and then do 3 on each. There was merit to putting just 6 on this Espathra, so I could knock it out afterwards, but the TM Devo play looks good, and honestly, I'm generally not super worried at this point in time. I really am not. Alright, so that Espathra is doing 180 with 1 more energy. That would be 210, and that would be enough to knock out my Dragapult. Does play the 4th research. Jeez, with only 1 left, manages to find the 4th Professor's Research. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this will hurt, but it's not the end of the world. We do see the Banette. If I find TM Devo, my opponent has 0 attackers in play, which is pretty fantastic. Now, the Banette does protect them from Iono or Unfair Stamp, but that's alright. They do find the energy to attach. It's all good though. Yeah, maybe this was a little too fancy. I should have just done 170 and 60 here. Maybe that was the play. It's all good though. TM Evo will potentially get me to prizes. I have solid backup options. I can also, like I said, attack with Radiant Alakazam if necessary. at some point in the game. I also have 2 Drakloaks with 2 energies each. I'll Iono to 5. Now, I'm wondering if I should Iono or Unfair Stamp though. And I'm thinking Unfair Stamp is better because then that means I can steal Arven after I Unfair Stamp. So, just to search for the TM Devo directly. So that's what we're gonna go for. Alright, useless Rare Candy. We're going to burn the Nest Ball. Yeah, we do have 2 Arvens left. Now, Unfair Stamp does put all of these cards back, right? Meaning there's a chance we redraw them. There's the Clairvoyant Sense. Now, I did get Ultra Ball, which is pretty nice. If I... Alright, I'm gonna bench this and I'm gonna Collapsed Stadium. Getting rid of my Manaphy. Whatever they get rid of will be a potentially valuable Pokemon, right? It'll probably be the Shuppet, I imagine. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, now I don't mind discarding this other Psychic. I will go ahead and grab the Xatu. Nah. Jeez, there's exactly 1 fire left. Okay. I'm gonna grab the Dragapult, so I'm gonna use the first Recon Directive from the active and see if that gets me anywhere. It does not. Useless card. Alright, so finding the fire would be nice. Finding the TM Devo would be even better. And we have Arven to potentially do so, or we can find both. Okay. Calm down, Pokemon. Alright, Redcon Directive. Let's keep the Poffin, sure. Okay, I even got Boss, so now I can go Boss the Alakazam. Boss the Alakazam, TM Devo. I mean, I don't think I need to though. Nothing threatens me at all, right? So that would be just a waste of a boss's orders. This eliminates both of their... Why does Devolution cost 2? Oh, because of... Oh, I even forgot about the ability. Wow. So that was honestly pretty lucky. Alright. So goodbye both Littles. I generally forgot about the ability 100%. 100%. So, yeah. Pretty lucky, not gonna lie. Pretty lucky that I found my last energy and the TM Devo off of the Unfair Stamp without needing to search for anything else. That was 100% very lucky on my side. It is what it is. Yeah, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get unlucky. It must have been frustrating for my opponents, and it's understandable. Alright. So what can they even do at this point? Any Flittle they bench is getting knocked out immediately. If they Iono, I already have my attacker set up. Need to go like Iono. They can't Iono Boss, right? If they do bring up the Radiant Alakazam, that is how they can potentially stop me from drawing. But there's the Flittle, which is just gonna get knocked out immediately. Or not. Alright. Never mind. There's a Hero's Cave, so good thing I kept those boss's orders. Now I wonder if they'll ban it for research or for Iono. Iono to protect and attack my hand seems decent, but then they only get 3 cards, which is of course not great for them. I didn't see what they get because TCG Live is once again not, I don't know, it's just not good. It's clearly done by people who don't play the game, and they do. It is Iono, so it's like it should be very clear. The card should be like, look, this was it, and then go back. Anyways, that's besides the point. No more boss. Hero's Cape on the Flittle is pretty nice, right? Pretty nice for my opponent. And now it is our turn. All right. So what is the play here? I have a guaranteed knockout on both Xatus. That means if my opponent attaches an energy, they'll do 150 damage. And that would be a problem. Now, my boss's orders are at the bottom of the deck, so that's why I'm using Arven right here. First, so I'm gonna get Rescue Board and Super Rod. And now for this Super Rod, I'm just gonna put back the 3 energies. That is the way to go, because what I need is to attack enough times, right? So now we get Recon Directive, we find the boss, so that wins me the game next turn, right? I go 200. If my opponent Ionos me again, so be it. Then I'm gonna do 5 on the Natu to knock out and prevent any energy acceleration whatsoever. I'm gonna do 1 damage counter here, and then if my opponent doesn't Iono me, I have boss for game. If they do, then that's fine, right? I have Xatus, I just replenished energies, now I have an Earthen Vessel going around in the deck. If I set up another Dragapult, I should be able to win, so should be good to go. I'm really not scared at all. Because worst case scenario is they go evolve, attach, Iono, right? That's like the worst case scenario. Iono me down to 1, and then they just do damage. Then I'm gonna have 1 card from the Iono, my top deck, look at the next 2 from Recon Directive, and attack. And then they'll knock me out, and then I'll have my top deck and another 2 cards from Recon Directive, right? That's the next 6 cards or so to find Psychic, to find Earthen Vessel, to find something to help me in setting up. Now, my opponent might have left the game, it seems, after I took that double knockout, which is weird, right? Because there was no way that was not happening. Maybe they were hoping I forgot about Hero's Cape and put the damage counters on the Flittle, thinking it was safe. I don't even know, but I think we're good. Yeah, so Dragapult DX, it's a real deal. This list is pretty powerful. This is, as mentioned, the 3rd place list, or the top 4 list from the Sapporo Champions League. A very good starting point, which I would recommend. Has a variety of options, is reliable, is powerful, sets up well, or good enough. Now, 200 damage is a relatively low cap, and that can sometimes be used against you. So Radiant Alakazam also feels a little underwhelming sometimes, so not sure. That's like, you could have Radiant Charizard as another option potentially, but for now, so far so good. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed, and make sure to tune in to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. There's going to be a ton of Twilight Masquerade deck and TCG live content coming your way. Thanks so much, and until next video, bye bye.